Hi everyone, happy finals week. This is my final video for the final exam, covering questions from different chapters throughout the whole semester. The first one started just going on my notes. Um, Chapter 7. How can you tell when someone is listening to you? That first question. I can tell when someone is listening to me because their eye contact is meeting my eye contact. They are not fidgeting with their phone. They are they are nodding in agreement, and they are able to provide feedback through their facial expressions. Um, an example of providing feedback through your facial expressions is when a person is telling a story and there comes a punchline, and if the person doesn't have a positive facial expression, that means that the person wasn't listening to you or they didn't get your joke. The way that I feel when someone isn't listening to me is I feel unappreciated. I feel unappreciated because I am sharing my opinion, and if the person is not listening to me, then that means that they don't value my opinion. It makes me feel like I don't matter to them. It makes me feel like even they when they don't stop and listen, like I'm not valuable enough for them to stop and listen to what I'm sharing about. Um, a time that I felt that I wasn't being listening to, and I was saying something very important is when I was telling my girlfriend something and she wasn't paying attention. This happened a few times, but it mostly occurs when she has schoolwork on her mind. Her failure to display the appropriate listening behaviors did not affect our relationship because I gently reminded her to listen. I gently reminded her to listen to me. It also did not affect my motivation to tell her things in the future. Um, it didn't affect any motivation because I know that she cares, but she just had a lot of important things on her mind. Um, and I also learned that I shouldn't tell her important things when she has schoolwork on her mind. This also works both ways because sometimes I have things on my mind and I don't pay attention to her. So yeah, it's a reciprocal thing. The chapter 8 question. An interpersonal, well, please describe an interpersonal relationship that has terminated. Interpersonal relationship is defined as a strong, deep, or close association, acquaintance between two or more people that may range in duration from brief to enduring. One interpersonal relationship in my life that has been terminated is my relationship between one of my close friends and I. This friend of mine grew up with me, he graduated high school with me, and we've had so much fun and fond memories with each other. Um, I moved through the relational escalation stages early in our life. The first step, initiating, was done when my friend and I exchanged words in the sandbox back in the day. The second step was experimenting, which was done when we passed each other in between classes and made small talk. The third step, intensifying, occurred as we were growing up. We shared laughs and handshakes and whatnot. Um, the fourth stage, integrating, happened in high school when we took a few classes together. The final stage of relational escalation, bonding, it occurred when everyone knew how close our friendship was. On the other hand, relational de-escalation, the first stage of this differentiating happened when both of us could tell that something was wrong in our friendship. We thought of ourselves as individuals rather than best friends. The second stage, circumscribing, occurred when we didn't have communication and we started becoming distant. The third stage, stagnating, happened when there was no substance in our relationship. We became more self-oriented. The next stage, avoidance, occurred when we no longer contacted each other to go work out or go to the bar or whatever, just to hang out. The last stage, termination, occurred a little time after that. Chapter 10 question. Please use your nonverbal and verbal communication skills to demonstrate that yeah, that number 3 question. An irrelevant question and response would be an irrelevant question. Well, a question would be, how do you like your meat? Irrelevant response would be to say, I like vegetables. Tangential response, question and response. Did you eat my Pringles? Yes, but did you see who ate my pizza? Impersonal question and response. How do you write this equation? Christian would put the reciprocal along with the pi equation tangent by the square area divided by the reciprocal of that fraction. Yeah. Ambiguous response, question and response. How can I be sure you mean it? Who knows what anybody really means? Incongruous question and response. I thought you were gone. And the person who answering that question would give like a troubled look, like, what? An example of how the use of disconfirming messages has affected communication in one of my interpersonal relationships is when a person gives an impersonal response to a question that I had asked. When that happens, I wish the person would just put it in simpler terms instead of using big words to describe what I'm trying to achieve. Chapter 11, number 4 question. Please describe a recent conflict that you have had in one of your interpersonal relationships and how you would describe using the primary conflict management styles. A recent conflict that I have had in one of my interpersonal relationships is agreeing to go on a movie with my girlfriend. Sorry I keep using the girlfriend example. It's just easiest to understand and comprehend. The primary conflict management style that we used when we decided to watch a movie was compromising. But instead of a lose-lose situation, it became a win-win situation. Because we watched her movie the first week and we watched my movie the second week. We compromised to meet a goal. I feel that she also used a compromising style too. It is important to use any or all of the conflict management skills because conflicts must be resolved, especially in relationships, and it is important to have methods of working it out. I thank you for watching, and I hope you've had a good final week too. And happy holidays. Thank you. Aloha.